The hodge and the hedge. You know, driving through this town or any town, walking through this town or any town, I see people with nostrils, fingers, feet, eyes, mouths, ears, chins, eyebrows, and so forth. I go into a cafe, sit down and order breakfast, look around, and I am conscious of skulls and skeletons as I watch a man stick a piece of bacon into his mouth and die a little. And I don't like to contemplate death because there might be someplace else we have to go later on. And I've had enough trouble right here, just being right here, but maybe it's the fault of all snakes in glass cages. They can't move, breathe, or kill, and they ought to let them out. And they ought to empty the jails too, just as soon as I get my lunger in order and my dogs unleashed. The buildings are all poorly constructed, and the human body is too. I sometimes watch dancers leaping about and think, that's ugly and awkward. The human body is constructed wrong. It's ungainly and stupid. Compared to what? Compared to the cactus and the leopard. Well, my woman has always said, you're so negative. And I have looked at them and replied, I find reality in negative. Compared to what? Unreality. Yet for all that I have had more joy than any of them. They were positive and depressed, and I am negative and happy. Well, it all could be the fault of firemen sitting around waiting for a fire. It could be the fault of some guy in Moscow raping a 6-year-old girl. Or it could be because fog is no longer fog the way it used to be. Fresh, wet, cooling, but everything's hurting now. They found some guy playing football at UCLA who couldn't read or write. But Christ, he had strength. What a body. He might have slipped but he got upset and murdered his drug dealer. And they found out after all that he wasn't much of a college boy. Just kind of a kept goldfish, which reminds me, hardly anybody keeps goldfish anywhere. You know, when I was a kid, one household out of 3 had goldfish. What happened to that? Some even had goldfish ponds in the backyard with slimy moss and dozens of goldfish. Small, medium, large. They lived on breadcrumbs, and some of those fuckers got so fat and stupid, they just rose to the top and flattered out. One eye to the sun, quits like a bad massage. Like a bad message from God. But people also quit when they shouldn't once there. Was a prize fighter. Got $5 million for a championship fight. The macho man had never been defeated, but he ran into a guy who could handle him, and after a few rounds, he turned his back and said, no mas, no mas. You'd figure for $5 million, a man could stand a little pain. I've watched men have their entire lives destroyed for 55 cents in an hour or less. Well, maybe it's the masonry, or maybe it's the water pump, or maybe it's the hog in the hedge, or maybe it's the end of luck. Angels are flying and flying low tonight with burning wings. Your mother is the victim of her ordinary nightmares as 40 faucets drip. The cat has leukemia. There are only 245 days left until Christmas, and my dental technician hates me. So now, I wake up with a stiff neck instead of a stiff dick. And you can always reach me here, East Hollywood, but please, please, don't try.